something about most of the country music stars. Many of the ladies, and the guys too, are great cooks. A lot of them are excellent storytellers, and they're very spiritual too.
Well, you know, our next guest, June Carter Cash, has combined all those things into a book. It's called Mother Maybell's Cookbook, a kitchen visit with America's first family of country song.
Here she is, June Carter Cash. Okay. Will it stay on?
No, I was just swatting him a little bit.
It took me too long to put that mic on.
You have to watch these. You wear the most unusual clothing. Do you have it made for you?
Well, I have a good friend named Lori Kabbalah that's been making my clothes for a long time. She's out in Los Angeles, and she makes pretty little dresses and pretty little hats to go with them. And I like them, and if your hair doesn't look good, you just yank that down over the top of it.
Good point.
Now, when you're not on camera, you wear hats a lot, don't you? I see you running around all the time with your hair up.
Yeah, I do. I wear hats. I'm afraid I'll get gray overnight.
Oh, you look great. You really do. Now, what was the inspiration besides Mother Maybell for the cookbook? Was that basically, are these her recipes?
They're Mother Maybell's recipes and my recipes, my sisters Helen and Anita, and also Peggy Knight, who was my mother's nurse and her companion before she died. Peggy had an idea to do some recipes that Mother Maybell Carter had. But I said, this is I call it a cookbook, but it's more than a cookbook. It's, I call it a recipe for life. Mother had a way of sitting us all down at the table and teaching us a lot of things, and she prayed for us at that table. She fed us well. But I've written all these little vignettes in here that pulls this cookbook together. Of course, the recipes are in there, just a good country basic way of cooking, I guess, that Mother did teach us from the mountains in southwestern Virginia, but a lot of memories that I've lived with, and some very unusual stories that happened that made me remember.
Is it true that your mother used to entice people into the house with food and then sit there and pray with them and pray for them?
I think my father was the one who did a lot of praying. Mother was busy doing the cooking, but they used to do that. A lot of people would come and just stay all night, and then some of them stayed 12 weeks, and some of them a year, and some of them stayed a long time. But she was a wonderful woman. But this book, it has more to say than just recipes. You know, I think you can learn to cook good country cooking from this. But there's a lot of memories. There's a memory of a wake that we went through one night, and the things we ate at that wake, a very unusual wake. We ran a little trailer in Petersburg, Virginia, straight through the front of a shotgun shack about 1:30 in the morning, and my mother thought, that's a funny little trailer, looks just like ours. It's on the back of our car. Only it was ours. And my mother said, I'm so sorry, and she ran to this old black man, and she said, what is wrong? Could we pay you? We've knocked your steps down, your boxwood hedges, we've torn up everything. She said, I've caused you so much trouble. And he said, it's no trouble, we've got trouble. He said, inside, our mama is dead. And she said, well, I'm Mother Maybell Carter, let me pay you. And I was trying to get to the Lady Baltimore cake in the kitchen and to the fried chicken and all that stuff, these memories. And what happened, he looked at my mother and he said, well, if you really are Mother Maybell Carter, would you sing Will the Circle Be Unbroken? And she stood there, took that old auto harp out, and that old frayed light bulb was hanging down, and that old black lady and that coffin, and we stood there and she played Will the Circle Be Unbroken.
Gosh, a lot of wonderful memories. Now, I know over the weekend you had a big party at your house to celebrate the publishing of the book. I think we have some footage here of some of the things that went on. Maybe you can tell us.
All right. Well, that's our daughter Roseanne, and that's our little grandbaby, and Rodney Crowell, and the biggest one is my husband Johnny Cash. He eats most of the food, and then there is a picture of the book, and then I mean, it's going so fast. Anyway, this was at our house on the lake, and we're welcome. welcoming friends. There's my sister and there's Peggy, and Helen was sick. My other sister wasn't able to be there that day.
Oh, lots
But
of
we're
Lots of
feeding
food.
everybody. I thought maybe we might have 75, but I think we fed about 400 or 500.
God. Now, was the
Mother
food
was
from
good
the
at
book?
doing that. Yes, the food was from the book, and we tried to cook a lot of it, and friends cooked some of it. I like to have cooked it all, but Anita did some special recipes, and Peggy did. Peggy makes wonderful cornbread, and I cooked, and my cooks cooked. We all cooked, and we all ate. We had a wonderful time.
Now, how do you keep from becoming like this 500-pound lady is what I want to know.
Speaking of beauty secrets, we had that story earlier.
Well, you know, I've been an entertainer all my life, and my daughter Carlene said to me, said, "Mother, I saw an old film of you the other day," and she said, "I didn't realize you used to be able to fly." And I said, "Well, I'm still flying. I used to dance a lot, and I still do, in concert as a part of the Johnny Cash show, and I still can kick the ceiling, and I don't
sure
know.
can.
I just, it's a part of what I've always done, and I enjoy working. Still enjoy working with John. He's feeling really good after his heart surgery.
I'll tell you what, we're going to ask you a little bit more about that. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with June Carter Cash. Don't go away.